Thanks for joining us for another edition of the International Chiropractic Association Sports and Fitness Science Council podcast. Now, recently we had our annual convention down in Clearwater, Florida, and we had a keynote speaker. And I got to meet the keynote speaker, and we talked, and I asked him to join us today, and that's Dr. Andrew Jeter. Dr. Andrew Jeter, I want to say hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And I see that you're wearing a Notre Dame shirt there. For people who don't know who you are, you want to talk a little bit about why you're wearing a Notre Dame shirt?
Well, I am the father of the kicker that played for the 2024 Fighting Irish.
And you had a little bit of press about you that came out about your son this year, correct? You want to tell our listeners about that?
Yeah, that was a total surprise. You know, the night before, or the day before the Georgia game down in Louisiana, my son said, "Hey, Dad, I think Sean McDonough from ESPN is going to give you a shout out during the broadcast." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And I'm thinking, okay, what about? I texted him chiropractic, ? And he said, yeah, chiropractic. So I didn't know how that was going to be received or how it was going to take place, but it did. And wow, what a platform for chiropractic.
Definitely. I was talking about sports being a great ambassador to promote our profession.
For sure.
And you're definitely a living testimony of that. So tell us a little bit what happened with your son, why they were talking about you and why they brought you into the spotlight.
Yeah, so during middle of the season, he was playing against the University of Miami, and they had switched out the snappers, and there was a bad snap hold exchange, and the ball came squirting back towards my son Mitch, number 98, and he picked up the ball and scrambled to his right and avoided one tackle, and then he was trying to, as he was going to the right sideline of Notre Dame, he tried to throw it away because the guy that was to receive the pass was covered. Remember, this is a broken play. And when he did, he got hit hard in his left hip area and then immediately catapulted him over onto his right hip. And he went sliding past Coach Freeman out of bounds about 5 or 6 yards deep into the bench. And after the game, we kind of talked about it, and he didn't want to, take the time to be adjusted because he had some friends up from South Carolina where he used to play, and so he wanted to go out and be a college kid, So it kept the inner right groin kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then during the Stanford game, he was doing a kickoff, and it was probably one of the worst kickoffs I've ever seen him do. And to see what really happened to him, because I was following the ball, and my wife said something's wrong with him, and he's on the sideline with his helmet off. And so at halftime, he texted us and he said, "I think I tore something in my groin. It popped during that kick." And, we're like, I don't know, let's wait and see. So after the game, we went back to his apartment and we did somewhat of an evaluation, but he was really, really tender and sore, and we couldn't really do a whole lot for him. The next day, he had an MRI and he had a grade 1/2 strain of his growing muscle. The next week, the team was in Atlanta for the Georgia Tech game, and I saw that inner thigh, and he was bruised basically from his navel to his knee. It was black and blue. I mean, it was the worst bruise I've ever seen. And so, we stepped into place and did what any chiropractor would do, and that's trained in sports injuries, or any father would do who's a chiropractor, or mother, I should say, as well. And we just started working with him. We started working with the spine, and we started working with the extremities and giving him weekly adjustments, several in a row. He did ultrasound, he did cold laser, he did ice, he did Epsom salt bath, he did, I think, a shockwave therapy, jacuzzi therapy, hydrotherapy, low weight, high resistance, and this thing went on for about 12 weeks, but he didn't play for a month after that. So that's the long of it, I guess.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to get him back on. And, myself, I tore my bicep 15 years ago, and I remember seeing Dr. Dan Murphy, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, what all can I do to this arm to get this back to full speed?" And, as chiropractors and as fathers, obviously, we want to use every tool we have. And it's really cool that you're able to do all that without a whole bunch of shots and injections and everything else, and help his body heal the natural way. Now, one of my closest friends here, his daughter plays Division I college basketball, and they travel a lot. And he's not a chiropractor, even though he goes to all the games. when your son was traveling and stuff like that, were you able to stay with him, or did you have to sometimes maybe find a chiropractor places where he was going with the team?
Um, so, well, I pretty much brought my table wherever we would go and wherever we went. The only game I didn't go to this year was a Southern Cal game out in Los Angeles, and that was over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. So that presented some other obstacles, but I ended up keeping a table there in South Bend underneath his bed at his apartment, and so probably a quarter of the clinic was under his bed at the apartment. But he
Absolutely.
used it. He used all of it, and I should say we used massage therapy too. I think I left that out. We used a lot of massage therapy to help get the striations of the muscles back in parallel so he could heal.
Absolutely. Now, do you find that the team itself had a team chiropractor, or did you just find that there wasn't a chiropractor there? Or I understand it's your son, and I know with my kids, I know I'm their best chiropractor. I know my dad was always my best chiropractor.
Right.
But did you get to communicate with the team trainers and stuff like that, or you just kind of did your thing?
We communicated a little bit with the team chiropractor and the team trainers, not really over the phone, but live. And what we did is just fill in the gaps. We would talk basically every day. Hey, what did you do today? We didn't want to replicate anything, but we just filled in the gaps. And he really wasn't getting extremity chiropractic, so we specialize in that, and we dove into that for helping him out get that growing back.
I personally found out that when I started getting results, when the rest of the medical team can't get results, they don't really question you. They're just happy you're getting results. I'm
Yeah.
sure you ran into a lot of that too. But he's getting better. Let him keep doing his thing.
Right.
So now, did you find that the NCAA has a lot of access to chiropractic care, or is that some just kind of different team by team, or city to city, or town to town?
I think it's team to team, town to town. To be honest with you, most Division I programs do have a chiropractor involved with their team. I know they had one at South Carolina. They had massage therapy, athletic trainers, and of course an orthopedist slash primary care doctor would come in periodically. Um, Notre Dame pretty much had that as well. But here we are working with a local Division II school, and they're asking me to come out and help the baseball team, second year in a row. So something's working.
Yes. Do you work with a lot of teams in your community now?
No, just a handful. Primarily Catawba College, which, like I said, is a Division II school locally here.
I was told one time if I'm going to work with a lot of professional golfers, I can't live in Northern Illinois. I have to move to Florida, Arizona.
Right.
That's always a big part of it too, correct?
Yeah.
So we are trying to set up a network here with sports chiropractors that have a background in sports, the ICA Sports and Fitness. And I think you would agree with me that as a father with a son who's an athlete who does travel, it would be nice to have a network of chiropractors you could easily find to refer somebody to. And I'm you're gonna probably find out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you start taking care of your son, I'm pretty sure it's three or four of his good buddies also wanted you to just look at them too at the same time, correct?
Yeah, he had two roommates that received the benefit as well just by being roommates. So yeah,
So they're probably going to go back to their.
then they brought in friends, and so it expanded. So the night before the national championship, the room was pretty full. It was pretty packed.
And I'm sure it'd be nice if you had a network that you could find all those guys, chiropractors back in their hometowns that you knew understood the sports and stuff like that too.
Exactly, yeah. And that way you know what you're
So
sending them to. You have faith, you have confidence. They're going to be taken care of.
I'm sure you get asked. I think as chiropractors, we all get asked all the time, "Hey, I'm moving to West Virginia. Tell me who I should go see." I'm sure even in the athletic world, that's even bigger than it is for a normal patient, correct?
Right, yeah. There used to be a program called the Care of the Elite Professional Athlete. I think it was called SEPA for short. I know that the ICA has something to do with hockey, professional hockey now. So yeah, I think there are smaller groups, but it would be helpful if we organized and became a unified body.
Yeah, that's one of the things that our council is aiming towards. We've created a friendship with the Pro Hockey Chiropractic Society and the Pro Baseball Chiropractic Society, and we're becoming friends with the Pro Football guys as well. So trying to make that data pool. But I want to thank you for your time and joining us here. And then I always toss the mic back to you if you have any final words you'd like to share with our audience. The stage is yours.
Well, I'd just like to remind everybody that they need to have faith and confidence in the chiropractic adjustment. Healing happens from above down, inside out, just as BJ Palmer preached 99 years ago when the ICA started. This is our 99th year. If you're not a member of the ICA, I encourage you to join. If you're not a member of your state associations or associations, plural, I encourage you to join. You got to get involved. That's the only way our profession is going to grow. Can't have too many people out here as islands. We need to be a unified body. So I want to always encourage people to choose hard. That was one of the Notre Dame mantras this year. And choose hard by, I mean, go the extra step, go the extra mile, do the patient right. Make sure you go to live CEUs, hands-on training. All those things will help you become a better, more specific doctor. And when all else fails, if you're not getting the results that you want, go back and look at the joint angles of the body part you're struggling with, because that'll help open it up a little bit for you. So that's kind of what I talked about this past 2 weekends ago in Clearwater, and it was good to see you there. And again, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I wish everybody the success, happiness, love, and faith.
I love those final words. I couldn't have echoed it even more. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know you're a busy person, so I'm going to let you get on your way. If you liked what you listened to here, hit like, subscribe, follow for more, and we'll see you next time on the next podcast. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.